This is it right here.
Combining a team of reporters, columnists, and commentators.
Don't you ever talk about me!
Are you serious?
Jack Ebling has brought thought-provoking discussion.
What are you doing?
That's a damn coaching mistake.
Opinion.
The customer is the one who decides when the future gets here.
Oh, no!
The ship is on fire!
You have to check the report.
Are you kidding me? That game was fixed.
And overall infotainment.
I'll take Jim Harbaugh.
What has he done?
Crazy cootie coming at you.
Quiet, please. In exactly 15 seconds, we'll be on the air.
Thanks, big fella.
Don't you ever come back here again.
No arguments. Those are called ass tuners.
So buckle up.
You talking to me?
It's time for The Drive with Jack Ebling.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Great afternoon, Mid-Michigan and beyond, and welcome to The Drive with Jack. It is the Spotlight Radio Network. Jack Ebling here with my producer, Boston Rob, on Friday afternoon, first Friday of February, and a great sports weekend, especially if you're a Michigan State fan. Hockey, big series against the University of Michigan, maybe determining the Big Ten regular season champion. We've got basketball here. Illinois, Orange Hot, coming in to Breslin Center tomorrow night. And we have a great show planned for you. We will be on YouTube. You can catch us to 6 o'clock. We have some guests in studio, including our hockey panel. Very happy to see Haley Schoengart back here, Lansing's gift back to Louisville. And she looks rested after her month on the road covering the Indiana Hoosiers' incredible story. How long did it take you to get recharged?
A solid 3 days. I just needed to sleep for like 3 days. And then after that, I could function as a normal human again. But the traveling, and you don't sleep when you're on the road doing stuff like that. Rightfully so. But I'm happy to be well rested and happy to be back and get ready for a big series this weekend.
Did it take you longer than 3 days to do all your expenses?
Ooh, I'm still working on those. A weekend. That was a scary credit card statement to come across my desk.
You need a CPA to help you.
Yeah. If anyone knows, please reach out.
Haley is joined by Neil Koepke, longtime State of Michigan sports writer in Ann Arbor and Lansing and MSUSpartans.com. We're goaltender for Ohio State, my human hockey website. Neil, are you as geeked for this series as Haley? I don't know if that's possible.
Probably not, but I am. I've been looking forward to this one for a while, and the fact that they're number one and number two in the country, which I don't believe has ever happened. I don't think that's officially been determined, but I can't remember it. And it's a lot of times Michigan's been number one. Spartans weren't number two or even like close.
Yeah, vice versa.
And then way back when, in the Ron Mason era, Michigan State was number one. And Michigan was like a little bit of ways away from being number one. So I think this is like the first time. And everything's up for grabs. The Big Ten lead, you want to keep your number one ranking, number two seed in the NPI, the new pairwise.
Yeah.
So, a lot on the stake. And obviously the rivalry, bragging rights. And like I said to someone earlier this week, there's nothing better than a Michigan State victory at Yost and that bus ride back.
Yeah.
And there's nothing worse than a loss and that bus ride back. It's like a punch in the gut times two. And probably the same thing for the Wolverines when they're doing it. So, that's what makes it even just more just emotional. And same for the fans, too.
Right. You mentioned that you and Haley, I believe, will be there tomorrow night for the Duel in the D.
Duel in the D.
Yeah.
At Little Caesars Arena. But you're not going tonight to Yost?
Neither of us are.
No? And you said there was a problem with your vantage point where you're sitting. You can't see. You can't see the ice?
You can't see the ice to your right. You can't see the other net because of the girders where the press box is. And that's been that way for 5 years. Now, if you get a seat way in the far left, you can actually peek around and you can see down there. But it's not a very pleasant. Now, if you're the radio guys like Scott Moore and Woody, where they are in the far right, they can see right in front of them the goal, and to the left they can see it. But where the sports information director for hockey sits, he's right next to a girder. And it's like he's got to lean around the corner and just see at the other end. And there's monitors up there, but that takes away from the atmosphere. And you're so high up, you even lose the band and the noise from the students.
Haley, how would you compare the atmosphere at Yost to Munn?
I mean, it's a big-time college atmosphere, much like Munn. You know, both team wants their team to win.
Yeah.
The fans are loud. They bring the posters. They bring the energy. You know, it's pretty similar. I feel like in any college hockey rink across the board, especially when the team's competitive in the Big Ten, you're going to get a good atmosphere. And Michigan definitely brings it from a fan perspective as well.
I heard, and I can't confirm this, that when Michigan State gets penalties tonight, the Michigan student section is going to be chanting, "Just like Fears." Don't know if that's true. I don't know if Dusty May will be there kind of leading the students.
And they could also change it to say, "Just like McKenna, just like McKenna."
They can keep that and just change the name, right?
Exactly, yeah.
That's the way it's going to be.
They'll find a way to work it in.
Haley, it is always amazing. And when I try to tell people about this and they ask about you, and I say, well, she's from Kentucky, and then she worked in UP, but she really didn't fall in love with hockey up there. It wasn't until you came down here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you got an opportunity, and the rest was history. When you look at that, do you know anyone else who has fallen in love with the sport that way, that fast?
No. I feel like I'm such an oddity because I'll talk about a power play, but it'll have a Southern accent with it too, which is something you don't usually get. I really credit so much of that to head coach Adam Nightingale, the staff, the players over the past couple of years who were really gracious with me as I was learning. I mean, it took me probably 3 or 4 months to learn the difference between a power play and a penalty kill and the different penalties. And even you guys, when I would ask you questions, hey, can you read my report, or how does this stand-up sound? So many people in the hockey community here around Michigan State were just so kind and so gracious as I continued to learn and fall in love with the sport. And then this community is just so special too. All of the people that I've met and been able to interact with, and the way that Michigan State has been brought from the depths of the Big Ten now to a national powerhouse has been so much fun to get to be a part of. And so it's just so nice to be back. I'm so excited to see you guys and talk hockey like we used to.
Exactly, yep.
So the people in Kentucky that you interact with, and it's a basketball state,
mm-hmm.
When you talk about Braden Smith, everybody knows who Braden Smith is, right? Even though he doesn't play for Kentucky or Louisville or IU. Michigan tried to get him to transfer. That's another story. But if you were to tell some people that, Troy Augustine is just amazing. People look at you like, who is she talking about?
A lot of times when I want to explain hockey to people, I have to put it into basketball or football terms. Even when talking about Isaac Howard, I have to say he won the Hobie, which is the hockey version of the Heisman. And then they say like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. And then that kind of ends that. I'm trying. I put on hockey all the time in the sports office. There are a couple people that are like kind of interested in the Preds, which is fun. But there's something so special about college hockey too. And I think maybe it's just, East Lansing and Lansing as a whole, or Michigan as a whole, that has 3 really elite college hockey teams. The NHL is awesome, but there's just something so special about college hockey. And I'm just so fortunate to be able to have experienced it. And now I can't let go. It's like once you've tasted the Wagyu steak, you can't go back to Outback. You have to try to keep up with the Joneses here. So I try to keep up as much as I can.
Neil, you mentioned number 1 versus number 2 with these 2 teams for the first time, these programs. Is this a year that the Big Ten is going to get a national champion? You have to go back to 2007 with Michigan State.
You do. And it's
almost 20 years.
Third time this week that I've been asked that question on a talk show. And it's like, I shake my head and I go, yeah, back in the day. But Michigan has been there a lot and can't pull the deal, especially in the
Big Ten said appearances in the Frozen, right?
And Minnesota 3 years ago was a minute and a half, 2 minutes away from winning.
Basketball, Big Ten said same thing in the Final Four. They
Yeah,
just don't
exactly.
win it.
Yeah,
It goes back even further, 7 years
It's one
further.
of those things that they just can't get the job done if they're in the final or have a great team and they lose in the semifinals.
We used to say with Michigan, right, they would keep the bus running on Thursday in hockey because in the Frozen they would lose.
They lose the first round,
gone.
and then they'd be gone and we never see them again the rest of the weekend.
Yeah.
And then, Minnesota really was the team 3 years ago. And just think when Cole Caulfield was going crazy in the COVID year, that team was dynamite, and yet they lost in the regional. Yeah. Minnesota was pretty good that year too. They lost in the regional.
Yeah.
And so there was no Minnesota, Wisconsin, no dominant team. And when those teams and Michigan think that teams like Union, Providence, Yale, and teams that you would never think, Quinnipiac, winning titles. Why has it been since 80 or what is it, 86 since Michigan won? 2000.
Yeah, I think it was before I was alive.
No, it was 98, 96 and 98 since Michigan has won. Yeah. And yet they've been there like 7-8 times in the finals and can't win.
Coming up on 30 years.
And Yale's been there once and won. Providence, same thing.
Quinnipiac.
Yeah, Quinnipiac. Union.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, just teams.
So that's something, Haley, that's very different from college football.
Oh, yes.
Well, you're never going to get that. I mean, Indiana, at least as a brand name, the largest alumni base, all of that, didn't have any football tradition.
Until this year.
Until this year. Now plenty. And basketball, 2010, Butler was one Gordon Hayward half-court shot from beating Duke and winning it all. You had the Final Four a couple years ago. Dusty May had FAU in it. San Diego State was in it all the way. But you haven't had a champion like that since 1963 with Loyola of Chicago. What is it about hockey? Is it puck luck? Is it just the way the sport is structured that the right day anybody can win?
I think so. You think even back to last season, Michigan State first round bounced in the first round. Yeah. The Big Ten team that made it to the Frozen Four, Penn State, who was dead in the water midway through the season, where we all thought like, Michigan State. A lot of us were talking about going to the Frozen Four. I know even that weekend from a WLNS standpoint, we were already making content plans of, okay, well, when this happens and they win here, then this will happen. And we were already planning and just, Michigan State goes on the penalty kill, final minute and a half, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it goes in, Cornell's goal, and you're just like covering your eyes like, oh my gosh, how did this just happen? Cornell has the worst power play in the country. And how did they just score against an elite penalty kill from Michigan State? And so I think some of it's puck luck, and I think that's why Adam Nightingale takes every game so seriously, and they refuse to look ahead, is because you can't look an opponent, no matter what conference they're in, what their record is, anything like that, because it could just take a couple seconds and then your season's over, or you're out of the standings and it's a loss.
The standings. Michigan in first place by 1 point. If Michigan State can get 3 points this weekend, get a split, then Michigan has to play Penn State, has to play Wisconsin yet.
Minnesota, too.
Yeah. Well, Michigan State also has to play Minnesota, right? Yeah. But I mean, those are two series that Michigan State does not have to play. If Michigan State can get 3 points and not fall any further behind, does it win the Big Ten regular season championship?
I like their chances.
I do, too.
You do, too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think their schedule is tougher for the Wolverines.
If it could get 4 points and take a lead,
that would really be a leap.
That
would really be a leap,
Or even like last week, take 5 out of the 6.
Yeah.
If they can take a good majority of this weekend.
If they took 5 out of the 6.
I think they would feel
dancing in the streets.
What if Michigan would take 4 points this weekend and Michigan State would take 2? That would mean there is a 3-point difference, but the schedule certainly softens up for Michigan State in its final 3 series. Then who do you like, Neil?
Then I probably like Michigan, just because of the fact that they've not lost a game since Michigan State beat them 2 months ago. They've come close and they've lost. They've won in overtime where they didn't get the 3rd point.
Right.
But I think because
they would also have the tiebreaker in that case, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's key too, because State's got the tiebreaker with Penn State now, and they got the tiebreaker with Wisconsin. They just need get the tiebreaker with Michigan, and they would be pretty. The last 6 games of the season.
We thought this was a 3-team race not long ago.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
And Wisconsin has gone right into the toilet.
A straight nosedive.
6 in a row, lost.
Ooh.
What happened?
What didn't happen? I feel like maybe that's a shorter list.
Well, they stopped scoring.
Yeah, you have to score to win, and they can't really do that. Right. They can't defend. Their goalie's not all that great.
Yeah. They got some injuries
health issues.
On D, injuries up forward. But Jack, as I was telling Haley before a couple hours ago, in the Penn State series 2 weeks ago against Wisconsin, Wisconsin went into the 3rd period with a 1-goal lead and lost both games, Friday and Saturday. So they hang on to win one of those games. Well, that's not so bad, but they should have won both. And yet Penn State found a way to come back. And now Penn State, was red hot until, of course, the Spartans played them last weekend.
FS1 tonight? And tomorrow, Big Ten Network?
Yeah. Should be a good one.
Haley, what would it take for college hockey to get more coverage, for some network to say, okay, this is an underserved constituency. There's so much going on. The Big Ten devotes Friday nights to wrestling. Every sport, so we got to get this. Gymnastics now is finding a few breakthrough opportunities, but people love to watch gymnastics, and there's just no programming window for it. What would it take for a network to say, we're going all in on college hockey?
Ooh, I would love that. I love to watch college hockey on the national networks, but you don't really get the opportunity. I mean, the Big Ten will do, a slate where 2 games for a weeknight, but that's about it. I know Boston College and some of the Hockey East schools have been playing on different weeknights, but then I feel like that kind of puts people in a predicament too if they have to work the next day. Yeah. I think they just need a network to just say that, like, let's go all in, let's do full-fledged production and go. It is harder though because it's a more niche sport. Not every school has a hockey team. It's a predominantly appreciated sport in the north, and it's growing out west and in Florida, but I think they just need someone to say let's do it and let's do it big. And then once they can get the couple breakthrough opportunities, and I wish more people would give college hockey a chance. Again, I feel like the NHL is growing, but college hockey is so special, and it's kind of like minor leagues in a sense. You get to see these guys before they make it to the NHL, and I think that is so much fun to see where Isaac Howard started, see him through his first couple seasons, and now he's off in the NHL. Artem Levshunov, another good example. I would love to. If anyone wants to convince a network, they should hire us too.
That's right.
They should hire us too. Exactly.
This is my job pitch.
It would be great, Jack, if more teams developed Division I programs out west.
How many Division I programs in college hockey are there now?
What is it, 62?
Yeah,
63?
it's not a lot. But there's a lot of club teams. But it's expensive. It's expensive
and
to
that's
build
the
a
problem.
rink.
That's
it's
the problem.
expensive, and you have to have a donor that's willing to say, let me. And Mr. Pagula, money is no object to him. But not every single school has a mega donor that enjoys hockey that will shell out for that. I even know, in Kentucky, the University of Louisville and the University of Kentucky have club hockey teams. But nothing, the chances of them even sniffing a Division I level is so small just because who's going to pay for that? Then they have to try to get in a conference. Then you throw in logistics of travel. They're so far away. And there's just so many different hurdles that I feel like it's a really tough pill for schools to look at and say, like, okay, let's try to swallow this. And, we're going to see what happens with this Oklahoma State deal. Yep. I've been hearing different sides of the story of, okay, this arena is a go when they have all the money, but then I've also heard like, this is quite lofty from this school. But it's the same thing. I think people just need to have a donor or people, multiple, to just say, let's do it. Let's start a college hockey program. But then again, you have to go through the whole process of recruits. How are you going to be competitive? No one wants to lose.
It's expensive.
Yeah, no one wants to lose 12-0 every single night for their first 3 seasons because they aren't able to get high-end recruits.
Arizona State is sort of like one of those things that they just started. They had a good club program. And all of a sudden they go varsity. And now they're in a league, and now they have an arena, and they're drawing well, and they're able to recruit top-end players. Who doesn't want to go to school
hockey in
play
the desert.
hockey? And
there's no interest from Arizona in doing that?
Well, the funny thing is, Arizona's club program was always better, and they won national titles in Arizona. But there's no really push to build a program there. UCLA, USC, they've got club teams, but again, one team that might be able to do is UNLV. They've got a really good club team, and they've got money in that city, so that's one that people always talk about. But again,
they've got ice.
5 years ago, Illinois was almost on the verge of doing it. Then COVID hit, and then the money from loss from football.
If COVID hadn't happened, would Illinois have Big Ten hockey?
I think they would, because it was right there. They were in the process of looking around for coaches, and the commit was made. They had a deal with the city of Champaign to build an arena. They would rent it, yada, 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 and it was right there. But then with the football money lost and all the other stuff that happened during COVID, that just pushed it right off the drawing board.
When you talk about the number of schools that have college hockey, Division I programs, do you know how many have college wrestling? I just looked it up. I cheated. Do you know, Haley?
I'm trying to rack my brain of all the colleges. I feel like every single university
Very few in
the
SEC have college wrestling.
Really?
Right? Yeah.
What's that?
Well, I don't even think the
Very few.
university.
And the West Coast Big Ten teams don't have it, like UCLA and USC,
Nope.
Washington, Oregon.
The answer
They don't
is
have
78.
Oh wow, that's a lot lower than I
Yeah,
expected.
78.
Yeah.
But, hey, we got over 130 football programs, Division I, and 363 basketball. Everybody plays basketball.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Easy
So,
sport.
you just open the doors and roll out the ball.
Equipment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Simple to do. So
Which is interesting because I feel like in this day and age of college athletics, basketball and football are your money hungry
Sure.
sports. You have to pay the athletes exponentially more than you would have to pay a hockey program. So I wonder how that'll shake out in the next 2 decades, 3 decades as NIL becomes more integrated and normalized within the niche sports as well. Because it's not, the niche sports don't quite have the numbers basketball and football has, but you'll get a couple of big ones. I would imagine that when you look at Michigan State's and Michigan's hockey program, there's probably some guys in there that are making a little bit more than the rest of their teammates. I don't think anywhere near close what
they do in
Izzo
basketball
or
and-
football
yeah,
have on their
football.
payroll. Oh, I know. It's like a phone
you got
number.
the Texas schools, and they're up to 50 million.
Oh, my gosh.
50 million for football.
Are they really?
Yeah.
University of Texas?
Ohio State's 80 million. No, I would say.
How come I didn't get any money when I was there?
Yeah, what happened? So I have one more hockey question for you. I want to bring Rob in on this part before we move on to something else. Start with you, Haley. Ladies first.
Okay.
Give me the scores of the games tonight and tomorrow.
Okay. I say Michigan wins this one 4-3. Michigan State wins tomorrow 4-2.
No overtimes.
No, please no overtimes. Those make me nauseous.
Neil?
Well, I agree with Haley in the wins and losses, but I will say, let's see, Michigan wins tonight 4-2. Did you say 4-3?
Yeah.
So you're going to be nervous in that last couple
Probably.
of minutes. Yeah. 4-2. And then tomorrow night, I think Michigan State wins 5-3.
Oh, Neil.
Yeah, a little bit of goal-scoring eruptions. And that's what Michigan State needs, is to get this goals over 4. And that ensures victory.
So what happens if these teams number of points at the end of the regular season and they are 2-2 head-to-head? What's the next tiebreaker, Neil?
You're talking about for the Big Ten?
Yeah. For the 1 seed, because that matters now.
Mm-hmm.
The 1 seed
doesn't have to
doesn't
play.
have to play.
Yeah, it's a bye.
That first round. I think the next tiebreaker would be records against the next common opponent, or not
the third place team?
exactly.
Yeah,
third.
I
and
think
fourth
that's
place
right.
Team. Yeah.
Doesn't have anything to do with overall.
No.
Which would probably be what, Penn State at this point?
Yes.
Yes.
So the
And-
Spartans have to like that one.
They'll have to like that one. Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. Since they're already set, right?
4-0.
Yeah, done.
Who would have thought coming in, Michigan State would be 4-0 against those guys?
Not Gavin McKenna, who has 1 fewer goal than Anthony Romani. I just thought I would mention that. Also has 1 fewer arrest, right?
Oh, gosh. The charges were dropped down to a felony today on Kevin.
Oh, really?
Yeah, reduced from a felony. So I think he still has some.
Misdemeanor?
Yes,
charge
but they're
now?
not quite a felony.
Well, I guess Michigan State fans right now can't be pointing the finger at
Exactly.
anybody. Sorry,
Exactly.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Too much happening here,
Yeah,
too.
yeah. All right. Quickly, basketball. I know how important that is in the state of Kentucky.
Yes.
Can you compare Louisville and UK with Michigan and Michigan State? Now, Michigan and Michigan State have better teams this year.
Much better
higher
teams,
ranked,
yes.
But the interest, the passion, you've been at Breslin Center when it's been
yes.
beyond crazy.
Oh, my gosh. Well, Louisville has the largest basketball-only arena in the country. Syracuse, if you're going to go, total, but they play football and basketball in the same arena. The KFC Yum Center is an NBA arena, essentially right on the water. Beautiful people will wait in line. They will show out. They're very similar, although I will go on record and say I've never been to an arena that is louder than the Breslin Center. I mean, yes. I mean, and the Yum Center seats more. And I was there this year for Duke. I was there this year for Kentucky at Louisville. But the Breslin Center, I can remember probably a handful of games off the top of my head where I just remember sitting on the floor and my ears are ringing. It is so loud and the students are right on top of you and screaming. But as far as level of importance, it's right there neck and neck. I mean, people here would die for some Tom Izzo basketball. And although at Louisville and Kentucky, they don't have the Hall of Fame coaches there anymore. I mean, basketball is a religion there.
Yeah. Someone told me that it was actually more important in Kentucky because they don't have the pro teams.
Yeah.
And they don't have, say, what Michigan had done in football for so many years. So all the focus was on college basketball.
It was interesting. Doing the Indiana title run, we still had to cover Louisville and Kentucky basketball. And one of my coworkers who is a columnist who writes for our station's website, every time he would write something for Indiana football, Louisville or Kentucky basketball, that web post would get exponentially more hits because, again, that's people's, they eat, sleep, breathe basketball. And so it's interesting to see, although Louisville football has kind of brought up the tail end with Lamar in 2016 and then with their couple of good seasons under Jeff Brom, but basketball will always be king, I think.
So question here on basketball. Which state, Indiana or Kentucky, is more basketball crazy from the high school to the college level?
Ooh.
It's a tie.
Yeah. I don't get to cover nearly as much high school basketball as I did here in Lansing. I do miss it.
High school basketball in Indiana is like high school football in Texas.
Okay. Yes.
They have massive gyms.
Yeah. And they even have I'm not versed on the scoreboard terminology, but the old school scoreboards that come down and are four-sided, kind of think like that you would see at a college arena. I mean, it is that is what everyone does on a Friday night is you go to the big basketball game.
But is high school basketball big in Kentucky?
Oh, yeah. Louisville is definitely a big hub. There's a lot of really good teams that are all centralized right there that are pretty fun.
Louisville Male. And
yeah. Right now it's the private schools. And it's so funny. I was just telling you guys that I did a story on Rajon Rondo's son, who's an 8th grader, who's tearing it up. But as a diehard Louisville fan, I was having slight flashbacks to Rajon just killing the Cardinals. And I was having a hard time talking to him because I was just seeing his highlights, and then his son would blow by people, and then it would just make me very sad when Rondo did that to my Cardinals. But I digress. Still big. But basketball in Michigan high school level is fun too. There's some good teams here.
Rob, I want to get your predictions, but I want to give you a minute to formulate it, okay? Because I know you heard what Neil said, what Haley said. I want to get your predictions on the series this weekend. But talking college football, Haley, do you think that for the next 5 years, not thinking about the past and not thinking about the long term, but for the next 5 years, do you think most Indiana fans would trade places with Ohio State? Or do you think they'll take what they have and they're that confident in Curt Cignetti and what they're building and this incredible run? Doesn't matter what any of these powerhouses do.
Oh, I think the Indiana fans, they're sitting right where they are and they're not moving. It's so interesting to have followed Cignetti through this whole process. The way he practices is so different than any other coach I've experienced. And just it takes a true miracle worker to do what he did at Indiana. Yeah. And so it was funny talking to Indiana fans, after they won the national title. Then a week later, the basketball team beats Purdue at home. All those Indiana fans' houses could have blown up, and they wouldn't have cared. Their sports teams won. They were on cloud 9. It was the most wild, 8-day stretch. But I don't think Indiana fans want to trade places with anyone right now, other than maybe Curt Cignetti. I would like to see inside his brain.
Do you think Ohio State fans would trade places with Indiana right now?
Not yet, no.
I still got to do it a few more times.
Exactly, yeah. They still like what's happening, and they
got to fire a few more coaches.
They're colorblind a little bit as far as
colorblind.
There's just look at us, and they're probably thinking that's a fluke, and we'll see. Yeah. Just like this, how did Michigan win that? And now they want Michigan to be down, and they were last couple of years, so that's good. But Ohio State fans are just more worried about who the offensive coordinator and whether the freaking special teams guy can actually improve, and it's just crazy to listen and watch some of the websites. Because you're this is January, and they're talking about what can happen. And now the schedule for Ohio State guys next year is really tough.
Yeah.
That is really where every other week there's going to be a game where you're going to be not certain of victory. You're going to be, they have to play well. So it'll be
they might only go 10-2.
Exactly. They in regular season, they're going to get some tough wins, tough losses.
At Indiana, right? I think they travel
Yes,
to
they do.
Bloomington.
They do.
Yes, they do.
And then Indiana plays at Michigan.
And they play at Texas, too, to start. Not to start the season. It's the second game of the season.
And that's the hard part where Ryan Day is. They lose one game. People think, sound the alarms, the panic button.
Sure, exactly.
They're freaking out.
Here's one for you, Haley. Do you know which two teams have the best football record against the University of Michigan in the 2020s? So we're talking about from 2020 through 25, 6 seasons. Which two teams have the best record against Michigan?
Is one of them Michigan State?
It is.
I knew that because Mel never lost to Jim.
That's right. Beat them back-to-back years. The other one is...
It's not Ohio State. I'll tell you that one, Neil. Sorry.
It's
not at all.
No.
Not at all.
It's the Indiana Hoosiers.
Really?
They've beaten Michigan twice.
I guess.
Beat them in the COVID year and then
this past.
beat them a year ago. Not this year. They didn't
Yeah, the
play,
season
but
before.
in 24. Yeah. So
Really?
there you go.
Wow.
The Haley
And it
schools.
was at the Big House, right? That Indiana game? Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah, how about
And
that?
people were freaking out. Yes.
Yeah, what's this Indiana doing here? How could they do
how
this?
could they?
Yes.
That was
Indignity to lose to these.
I know. And then when Indiana sort of tailed off at the end in the tournament and all that, people thought, oh, well, they're done. And here they come back and have this great 17-0 season. And it's like unbelievable because a lot of people thought that was a one-year wonder.
Right.
And they're not going to do it again. And Ohio State, Oregon. And we all thought, remember at the start of the season, Texas or Penn State was going to be the champion?
Yeah. I said, hey, national championship, I've already got it. It's going to be Penn State and Clemson at the end of the year. And they were, but they played in the pinstripe bowl.
Yeah.
And, I looked at
a little bit off on that one.
When I got my football magazine, probably in July, not knowing me, in July or August, I looked at Clemson's schedule and I went, oh my God, they're going to just right to the playoffs.
Right through. Yeah.
Instead, they just died. And then Penn State was next. Texas, Manning, they just died.
Yeah, by the wayside.
So,
Indiana won every single trophy that they had.
right.
They were able to win this year.
The picture you sent me of the 9 trophies,
I know
they need a
it.
bigger case.
I know, and it was so funny to see which ones the players gravitated towards because traditionally in the past, they would win one. So that brass spittoon was the holy grail. It was basically their national title trophy, and even then, I don't think any of them picked it up. That was the easy one.
How is Purdue football taking this Indiana surge all of a sudden?
Must be brutal.
Notre
and then
Dame,
Indiana beat them in basketball.
Yes.
That's
A
Purdue's
big
salvation.
top team,
now.
I know.
Oh, God. Tough week to be a Boilermaker. Haley, before we wrap this up, and by the way, you two are welcome to stick around as long as you want for the show. But I had a story idea.
Okay.
You don't need story ideas. You've got a million of them.
I can
right?
always use them, Jack.
Okay.
I'm not creative sometimes.
Sure. I would like to see the IU, UK, UL sports Rushmores. You can only put 4 figures on it. I mean, just look at Indiana, right? I mean, you got to put Bob Knight on it, right?
You
don't
have
you have to
to
put Kurt Signetti on it?
You have to.
I mean, don't you have to put Mark Spitz on it? Wasn't he the greatest swimmer, right, of all time before Phelps?
Yep.
I mean, how about the basketball players? How about
I feel like I would need to break them down into sports even. I
you
feel
only
like
get
it's
4.
I know. I feel
Who's
like
the
it's
greatest basketball player from Indiana?
You could have a big argument on that one. I've had it. I mean, is it Isaiah Thomas? He was only there 2 years. Was it Scott May when those teams went 63-1?
That's just nuts.
Jeez, I know.
You only get 4. And the same thing if you did it with Louisville. I mean, if you've won a Heisman Trophy, that's
you have to
pretty
be
good.
Dr. Duncanstein, even.
Yeah,
we just talked about all of those teams from the 70s and the 80s. Denny Crum has
How
to
about
go
Johnny
on there.
Unitas?
Yeah.
Oh my God,
Going way back.
Favorite quarterback.
Yeah, and think about Kentucky. I mean,
Oh, my gosh. I mean, so many incredible players or pioneers in the sport. Adolph Rupp.
Yeah.
That's so hard.
I was talking to somebody about Anthony Davis.
Yeah,
'Cause
just
I remember
traded.
when right. But I mean, as a freshman and all the things they did and winning a championship, and the guy says, he doesn't make our Rushmore. Whoa. So thanks so much for coming in. I'm really glad we could do it. It was fun lunch.
Yes.
And, you'll be here for the weekend, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll be around.
Anyone who would like Haley Schoengard autographed, there are opportunities, sightings. Appreciate it. Neil, great to see you. And I don't know if we're going to get together to watch the Super Bowl. There's always an opportunity, right? We can think about that.
Sunday night, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. All right.
We'll miss you, Jack, at the Duel in the D.
Yeah,
you'll be at the Duel with Breslin.
Yeah, he'll be in there in spirit. We need to bring like a Jack poster or something so he can tag along with us.
You know, and Illinois is so big and so hot.
I know.
And Michigan State now has played 3 rancid first halves in a row.
Jeez.
So if they don't play better, they're going to get run.
They need to guard their behinds off Michigan State. If they have Illinois, the fact that they were able to go and put up as many points as they did against Purdue, I still feel like is a fever dream. Because how do you go to Mackey and do that? That place is, I mean, Izzo probably has many nightmares.
Yeah, Keaton Wagler only went in there as a freshman and scored 46 points on 17 shots. How do you do that? That's impossible. We will be right back and waiting very patiently. Connor Eargood of the Detroit News, another guy who loves college hockey, but he was just at the press conference. I was with Tom Izzo. We'll talk to him about Michigan State basketball, a little bit about football, signing day, some about college hockey. I know that's his first love. He should be in this panel, too. We'll be right back on The Drive with Jack.
Jack Ebling here with my good friend Matt Sloan at Graph of Okemos. Some great product here in early 2026.
You got it, Jack. Here at Chevy, we have, backed by popular demand, the all-new Bolt. Redesigned and back in full force for us. People are really excited about that vehicle. It did great for us in the past.
Great.
And then next door, the Nissan Sentra, completely redesigned for that model. Great fuel economy. It's going to be a hot seller for us.
Stop and see Matt and the gang at Graph of Okemos. They're making friends.
So, it's been a while since you've had your jewelry cleaned and inspected, right? Where will you go and who will you trust with your most valuable and treasured heirlooms? At Meadowar Jewelers' 4 locations in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage, jewelry isn't just our job, it's our passion. Each and every piece entrusted in our care is thoroughly inspected by our trained staff against damage or normal wear. And we offer you, our customer, the highest level of quality on repairs and custom designs. Whether it's worn out prongs, channels, or shanks, it's all handled with incredible care. Meadowar Jewelers in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage want to help you preserve your memories and offer you options on creating new ones. Come in today for the cleaning and inspection of your jewelry. We continue to work hard every day to earn your confidence and trust.
Dean Transportation is looking for compassionate people to join our team of school bus drivers and attendants. Visit deanjobs.com to see all openings. Dean Transportation provides paid training to obtain a commercial driver's license, increased starting pay, comprehensive benefits, and flexible schedules with no weekend shifts. No experience needed. Apply today at deanjobs.com and train for back-to-school season. That's DEAN jobs.com.
Amy here from One North Kitchen and Bar. Tuesdays are family fun night at One North. Kids under 12 eat free with the purchase of an adult entree. Bring the whole crew to One North in Lansing, Jackson, or now East Lansing. Good food, happy kids, and an easy win for the family every Tuesday.
Are you passionate about college sports? Foster Swift Sports Talk is your go-to podcast dedicated to addressing the hottest topics in college athletics, including recruiting practices, NIL, the trade portal, collectives, and revenue generation.
Join us as we bring you insights from student athletes, college head coaches, administrators, and other industry leaders as they share their experiences in this rapidly changing arena.
Our mission is to share information and help educate student athletes, parents, coaches, and other stakeholders with the knowledge, resources, and strategies they need to make informed decisions and maximize each college athlete's potential for long-term success. Check out our latest episode where we're joined by Trav Moore and Coach Rob Zimmerman from DeWitt to discuss their state championship run. Like and subscribe to our YouTube and Facebook pages to watch all of our episodes, or you can give us a listen on any of your favorite podcasting platforms by simply searching Foster Swift Sports Talk. Until next time, I'm your host, Dave Russell.
Welcome back. It is The Drive with Jack, the Spotlight Radio Network. Apologize to our next guest making him wait. But hey, when you have Haley Schoengart in studio and Neil Koepke, you can talk a while. And we could have done 3 hours, Rob. I want to welcome in another guy who loves to talk college hockey. A guy I just saw at Breslin Center for a Tom Izzo press conference. Connor Eargood of the Detroit News. Connor, what did you learn today?
Well, the big storyline that we learned for sure, Devine Ugachukwu is out for the year, which is a big blow to the guard rotation that was just starting to solidify. I mean, literally 15 minutes of the game Tuesday when Jordan Scott started, which I think we were all expecting at some point. And then Devine breaks a bone in his left foot, going to have surgery, out for the season.
Fifth metatarsal for people who were trying to figure out what it was. No, it wasn't a stress fracture.
Yeah. That's what Tom. But sometimes you got to confirm that stuff.
That's right.
They're going to be down at least one guard against Illinois, and hey, they might be down two for some sort of span when he inevitably makes his decision on whether he's going to bench Jeremy for some amount of time or what he's going to do disciplinarily there. I don't even know if that's a word in the English language, disciplinarily, but he's got some decisions to make. So it's I'll coin it. We'll copyright it. I'll get royalties off of it. But no, Jeremy with a reverse kind of donkey kick against Langdon Reynolds for Minnesota.
Yeah.
Not a great play after Dusty May put the warning shots out and put sort of a spotlight on Fears. You can't fall for that. And now there's a decision to make. So he was benched for a part of that Minnesota game. Michigan State came back within 3, but was pretty far out of that one and made a run toward the end. But now the question is, with number 5 Illinois, that Minnesota loss was one they really couldn't afford after losing the Michigan game.
Right.
Now they really, really need to win this game against Illinois, who shoots a lot of threes.
Yeah, and a lot of people were saying, how in the world could they ever lose to Minnesota? Spartans were only 8.5-point favorites. I say only. But it's not like Gonzaga was a 22.5-point favorite in its loss at Portland. And if you remember a year ago, a 27-10 Michigan team went into Williams Arena and lost by 3 points, the same margin. So, it's been a house of horrors for a lot of teams over the years. Minnesota was on one of those runs where they kept losing close games, and that can't continue forever. Yep. Michigan State was the team that it finally bit. But when you hear Tom Izzo talk about Jeremy, and he is taking into consideration the body of work, what he has done in terms of leadership and other ways, the classroom, all of those things, never had a single issue with him off the court. But he had talked to him, he had addressed it, and apparently it didn't sink in. Do you think he has made up his mind? He said he hasn't, but do you really believe that?
I was mulling that today, right? And wrote it for the news, DetroitNews.com/sports/Michigan State. Find all my coverage. I was debating that, putting it to ink of is he actually being legit about this? And I get the sense he is. He's got a lot of things to consider. Great story here. When I was about, second grade, I think I lied to my mom about something or other. I was a computer kid growing up for sure. Was going to be an engineer for a little while. Yeah. And, I love playing games on the computer, hanging out. And, my mom, it kept me occupied during the summers, especially when she worked. She loved it too. But, being a disciplinarian and teaching me right from wrong, had to set a tone. So I lost computer privileges for about 2 weeks. It sucked for everyone involved, especially because I was a bundle of energy around the house, and she had to deal with that too. But sometimes you got to punish people when you don't really, their body of work and what they've done and the kind of kid they are, suggest that this is an anomaly. But look, you got to set a tone. Yeah. Jeremy's too good.
What's best for them? I mean, what he's doing.
What's best for them? Yes.
It isn't what's best for Tom Izzo. It's what's best for Jeremy Fears, and that's something is taken into consideration. But the reason I asked the question about has he decided, I think any coach I know who is facing a challenge like this, his practices are going to reflect his decision. He's not going to have Jeremy Fears taking all the reps yesterday and today, and then before the game announce, by the way, everything we practiced isn't going to come in, and by the way, Denham, you're starting, and Nick Sanders, you're the backup, or Trey Fort or Kurt Tang, you're suddenly going to have a crash course on how to play point guard in 3 hours. I think the practice today would be reflective of Tom Izzo's decision. Doesn't that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that's where, and I was going to get to the point of Jeremy's too good of a player to play the way he has the past couple of games and be caught in these moments, right? Yeah. He's back-to-back Big Ten Player of the Week, co-player. They share it these days. He's too good of a player to be caught in these crossfires. Sometimes you got to set a tone, but look, there's no Divine, right? There's no backup point guard other than Denham, who has had good bursts.
And Tom said whatever happened to Divine has no impact on his decision about Jeremy. Now, people can say, yeah, sure. Yeah. But that's what he said.
Yeah, sure. I'm going to say, yeah, sure. I'm going to say, yeah, sure as well. And I think you can make the decision of punishment, right?
Yeah.
He's not going to let that tip away a punishment, but it certainly reflects the calculus of if you decide to do that. And, when there's no backup point guard to turn to, look, this is as big a game as there's going to be at Breslin Center the rest of the season. They really need this one. Hey, if he does it, I would be really surprised if he's going to pull Fears and would maybe be impressed with sort of the stick-to-itiveness and, his ability to be a leader of men, which I think he's proven in a Hall of Fame career he is.
Yeah.
There's a lot of considerations to be done, but I do think he's made up his mind. I can't tell which way it's made. He's made it up in some regard that he wants to, and he wants to do what's right for Jeremy, and that Jeremy's also a really good kid. But look, there's a lot of things to mull over in a decision like this, and I think that's why he's a $5 million a year basketball coach.
You know what he could do, Connor? We've seen it in football. Maybe he could kind of let Jeremy pick which game he wants to sit out. We saw that happen with the Michigan football coach. You can coach at Oklahoma, but you don't coach at Nebraska, and we'll just let that. No, that's obviously not going to happen. But I think you kind of earn a reputation, and Dusty May had a lot to do with that, which Tom is not happy about. It's going to make for some very interesting matchups down the road, some interesting Big Ten meetings. But I think you're going to see a reaction to Jeremy Fears that we have not seen for a Michigan State player in a long, long, long time, specifically 40 years since Scott Skiles was greeted by opposing bands playing cocaine, by fan bases shaking car keys because of his arrests, or shaking sugar packets, and the constant taunts that he underwent for 40 minutes, and frankly, that he thrived on. But there's another name involving Michigan State basketball, a little more recent that fans might remember. We're only going back 26 years. In the 2000 National Championship game against Florida, Connor, Martine Cleaves was going in for a layup, and the player for the Gators named Teddy Dupay, who was kind of a feisty player, but he stuck his leg out. There was a trip. Martine thought his ankle was broken, actually got retaped and came back into the game. But to this day, when you mention Teddy Dupay's name nationally, unless you're a Florida Gators fan, you don't think about what an outstanding player he was. You think, oh man, that's a dirty player that nearly broke Cleaves' leg. And I think you're going to have this for Jeremy Fears. He's not a senior. So for the rest of his college career, certainly, everywhere he goes, he's going to be a marked man. And as I said, only somewhat facetiously, to Neil and Haley, I was told that don't be surprised when Michigan State gets a penalty tonight at Yost Ice Arena, that the students aren't chanting, just like Fears. So, there's going to be...
Don't give them any ideas.
yeah. But I think there's going to be a reaction to him and how tough he is and how he handles it if he lets it rattle him. And I hesitate to even mention this because it sounded so ludicrous. But someone said when you have a traumatic incident in your past, it's almost like a soldier on the battlefield with PTSD. And when you have been shot and, he could have died. And if it hit that artery, he wouldn't be with us. And in light of that, sometimes people don't ever have a reaction to it. Sometimes it's put off 20 years and then they have a a completely out-of-body, uncharacteristic experience, and others lash back. But you can't go through a trauma like that without having some impact. I'm not saying that's a problem with Jeremy Fears. Probably shouldn't even have mentioned it. But where people are trying to figure out what happened to this kid, I mean, Izzo's trying to figure it out too, and he's always been feisty. He's always been trash-talking back and forth, but not like the last 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to co-sign that theory, but what I will say is that the level of contact that Fears has taken, right?
Yeah.
He hasn't been getting the benefit of the doubt much by officials because he flops.
Yeah.
He does. You know, you look at the screener that Cadeau hit that 3 that arguably won the game for Michigan. Fears flops. Like, it's part of his game. It's part of the NBA game as well, so it's not really on him. It's on the way that this game has evolved. But what I will say is that some of the contact he takes and some of the hits that he takes, he's scrappy. He's territorial, right? Sometimes I think some of his fouls are him not wanting to cede territory, if you will.
Yeah.
And him saying, I'm entitled to this space. I belong here. The one with Lenborg, I think he's saying he's entitled to that space and trying to establish position with his foot in a terrible spot that could have hurt a player, but I think was blown out of proportion a little bit. I think with the reverse kick, that's a reaction to getting pushed, right?
Yeah.
There's a foul on Reynolds, and he reacts poorly. And I think that's where it's, you know, when you have a player who has not earned the graces of officials, right? A player who has maybe burned some bridges with his foul baiting,
right.
And then he doesn't get those calls, well, then he's going to take matters into his own hands. And you see it in hockey all the time, right? Sometimes the referees officiate a game, and sometimes the players take it into their own hands. I was texting some folks the other day, and I said, man, it's funny that Fears is made out to be this dirty player because of how he's played.
Yeah.
In hockey, he'd be a cult hero. Brad Marchand, right?
Yeah.
You know, you think Lucic with the Kings and with Boston. Todd Bertuzzi, you know, is a guy who had a reputation that maimed a guy and ended a career, and he still had a cult following with some people for his play, and especially in the physical components. But, you know, I think it's just a difference in mentality, and I think there's more media coverage that people are trying to get a clip off and talk about this issue. It is a big issue, right? He's a point guard for a top 10 basketball team right now, and one we expect to do things in March. So I think that plays into it, and everything sort of compiles into one thing. There's no one right or wrong answer, but I do think that it's probably a little, in a way, self-inflicted by how he plays, but also he's got to figure out a way to solve it.
Someone actually made the suggestion, and again, it's one of those things where you laugh at it, and then you start thinking about it. And it's kind of a melding, Rob, of basketball and hockey. But someone said instead of having a flagrant foul where someone is shooting and then they get possession of the ball, you should play 5 against 4 for 2 minutes. And then it's up to the coach if he wants to call timeout, but the penalty could go more than 2 minutes if there's not a stoppage. And you wonder how exciting or how different that might be.
I don't know one coach that would co-sign that and want that to be the case. It's already hard enough to play defense as it is.
Yeah, I agree. All right. I got to get your take on the line for this game because it has surprised me. And I don't know whether it is respect for Tom Izzo and his team's ability to bounce back year after year after year when people have written them off. I don't know whether it's respect for Breslin Center and what kind of environment that is, and the fact that Illinois has lost a bunch of games there that people didn't think it would. I don't know if they haven't really caught up to what Illinois has been doing yet, but I'm very surprised that Michigan State is a 1.5 favorite in this game. I thought it'd be a point or two underdog. Are you surprised, and what kind of game are we going to see tomorrow night?
Yeah, I don't put a lot of stock in Vegas odds. I never really have. I'm going to stand on my soapbox there, but I would probably favor Illinois in this one. The way they shoot threes, the way that Keith Wagler is playing, the way that they have just a 7 deep, as Izzo pointed out, array of talent. Some of them with some names that go ahead and let anyone try to pronounce, you know, are so capable of shooting the three. And I think those are games that get out of hand, the teams that can get hot like that.
Yeah.
I think it's so hard to project. Michigan State has not defended well as of late. It was a problem against Michigan and surprisingly against Minnesota, I thought, in that first half.
Yeah.
Even if they only let up 2 points, it sure felt like they should have let up more. And, I think there's a lot of down, doom, and gloom around Michigan State because they lost a couple games. It's February slump. It happens every year.
Right.
It's
still 19-4, as Tom said. They're not 4-19, but you talk to some people right now, it's like, they'll never win another game. They're probably still a 3 or 4 seed.
And that's what I'm referring to. And, I do think Michigan State's hard to count out in this one, but I got Illinois by probably about 5.
Yeah.
Just how I think it would go. I wouldn't set the line there, but I got them winning by 5.
Talk about the pronunciations. And Connor, Tom Izzo struggles with his own players' pronunciations, so I don't expect him to get the Ivasic twins or Stojakovic or certainly Keaton Wagler. And you still have people who should know better saying Wagler, including Tom.
That's me.
Yeah, but it's Wagler, and there were people who called him Mike Krzyzewski when he got to Duke. Sometimes it just takes a little while because you see a name and it's not pronounced the way that it is spelled. But I want to talk to you for a minute about the college hockey series tonight at Yost, and then tomorrow the duel in the D. And Michigan State 1 point behind Michigan after the sweep at Penn State. And Michigan State has only lost 1 road game this season, and it was not in Yost. Spartans got a win there in the first series. What happens tonight and tomorrow?
Oh, that's a great question. And if I was I don't know, who has a crystal ball? It's not a genie. I'd give you the best answer I could, but what I'm going to say is this. Sorry, I'm in traffic right now in Ann Arbor going to the game tonight.
Okay.
And Ann Arbor is a mess to drive through. But point I'm going to make is that both of these teams are so deep and talented. I think it's going to be a split. This game could determine the Big Ten crown, but I really think this is going to be a split that we're still left in anticipation the rest of the year. I got Michigan winning this one at home. They're too good at Yost usually to lose another rivalry game, but I think Michigan State wins the duel in the D again. I think you saw the way that they brought the compete last year. I think it was, a 7-2 win against a good Michigan team, not as good as this year's, but a good one. And, I really think that they've probably got it this year in the duel in the D. I think Trey Augustine playing in a barn he's probably going to be playing in the NHL level can reach some ascended level. I think he's good for that. And is this a one-way? No, it's not a one-way. I went to school here.
Okay, we obviously we don't want him to have an accident here, Rob. Rob, what was your prediction? Rob, I didn't get your take on these 2 games. What do you have?
Well, you mentioned it just a little while ago with Connor. 1 road loss for Michigan State this entire year. The road warrior mentality continues. I say sweep for Michigan State. 3-2 tonight. And possibly overtime, but 3-2. And then I'm going to agree with Neil earlier on, duel in the D, 5-3 Michigan State.
So even if there is a split, okay, Rob, you're the lone wolf here saying there's going to be a Michigan State sweep. But if it is a split, Connor, and each team has won 2 in the series, that if they wind up in a tie, let's say Wisconsin or Penn State gets a point from Michigan, and they wind up with a tie atop the standings, then the head-to-head would be even, and it would be based on your record against the third-place team. And in that case, Michigan State's success against Penn State would give it the number 1 seed.
Absolutely. And I think if you're Michigan State, you don't want it to come to that, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think Adam Nightingale or anyone else on his coaching staff would want it to come to that.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see how this race evolves.
All right, the last thing for you, and I know you were on the road. You were in Minneapolis. I don't think you were moved out of your hotel the way the basketball team was. They couldn't stay at the Graduate.
No, Jack, I wasn't in Minneapolis.
Oh, you were not? Okay.
No.
That's right, because we saw you Wednesday. But in terms of the ice occupation of the Graduate Hotel, the basketball team had to stay much further away than it planned and have the police escort and everything else. But in terms of Michigan State football recruiting and Pat Fitzgerald and the unveiling with Samson Gash, the second of the three Gash brothers, how do you think Fitz did? And is this just a sign of what's to come?
Yeah, I mean, he had an older brother that went to Michigan as well, Isaiah. But I think with the Gash signing, I think it's a big nod of confidence for his ability to recruit. If you think of how he approached it, right, and he was honest with us about telling him, let's put a pause in this and not jump into things. When you hear a coach say that these days, I think a win like that, especially if it works out, and Samson, as fast as he is a state champion in track and 100-meter dash and his sort of speed, if he can pan out and he looks good, I think that is a big way for Michigan State to reclaim some of the territory it used to have in state recruiting. I remember when I was coming up in high school, dominance under Mark D'Antonio had a lot of good players wanting to play at Michigan State over Michigan. And I think we saw a flip of that late when, the Tucker years and into Jonathan Smith. Right. So I think a lot of the prospects who, are middle schoolers right now, really paying attention to it. And, all the talks at the lunchroom, cafeteria table, I think this is when you can make some territory of, man, look at what they did with that guy who was one of the best players you've seen in the state in terms of a speed threat. I think he can really prove something with this. But he's got a long way to go. Reminder that this is a team that went 5-7 and 4-8 the past 2 years, 4-8 before that. There's a lot of territory that Pat Fitzgerald needs to make up, but he's doing and saying the right things so far that give me a sense that he's taking leadership of the program, right, and taking some of these steps that need to be done. So I think there's a lot of potential for him, for Gash in this program to take some further steps here. And it may be informing some history with this Michigan State program. We'll see.
Connor, thanks so much for your time. Enjoy the game tonight, and I assume we'll see you in Breslin tomorrow night, right?
Yeah, you'll see me.
All right, sounds good. Connor Good from the Detroit News, and he's covering all three sports in 1 week, as he is prone to do, unlike most people on the beat. We will be right back, and we're going to talk with Lauren Tate, waiting very patiently in Champaign-Urbana, Illinois, about this Fighting Illini team. Massive, and one of the best stories of the year in college basketball. Be right back on The Drive with Jack.
Dean Transportation is looking for compassionate people to join our team of school bus drivers and attendants. Visit deanjobs.com to see all openings. Dean Transportation provides paid training to obtain a commercial driver's license, increased starting pay, comprehensive benefits, and flexible schedules with no weekend shifts. No experience needed. Apply today at deanjobs.com and train for back to school season. That's DEAN jobs.com.
Hey Jack, I'm looking for a lunch deal that actually scores.
One North Kitchen and Bar has a 2 for $12 lunch combo, right, Jeremy?
Absolutely. We can mix and match half sandwiches, salads, soups, or classics like cheese quesadillas and personal pizzas. Weekdays 11 to 2 and Saturdays from 10 to 2.
One North.
Easy win.
So, it's been a while since you've had your jewelry cleaned and inspected, right? Where will you go and who will you trust with your most valuable and treasured heirlooms? At Meadowar Jewelers' 4 locations in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage, jewelry isn't just our job, it's our passion. Each and every piece entrusted in our care is thoroughly inspected by our trained staff against damage or normal wear. And we offer you, our customer, the highest level of quality on repairs and custom designs. Whether it's worn out prongs, channels, or shanks, it's all handled with incredible care. Meadowar Jewelers in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage want to help you preserve your memories and offer you options on creating new ones. Come in today for the cleaning and inspection of your jewelry. We continue to work hard every day to earn your confidence and trust.
Jack Ebling here with my good friend Matt Sloan at Graf of Okemos. Great time to get a great vehicle.
Fantastic time, Jack. 0% financing is back. Hard to believe this time right now we can get a vehicle with zero interest. Wow. And if you're looking to pay cash, how about rebates up to $10,000? That's unheard of lately, right? $10,000 off on a vehicle. How about leasing? You want to lease? You can lease a vehicle right now in the low threes. Come on out and take a look.
You're talking everyone's language. Stop and see Matt and the gang. They're making friends.
Welcome back. It is The Drive with Jack, the Spotlight Radio Network. That's a good rejoin, Rob, for what we're talking about now. Little It's All Right, J.J. Jackson. There are a lot of Michigan State fans right now who don't think it's all right. I heard someone say now that they're going to lose most of the rest of their games and, is a safe streak to get in the tournament.
Well, I know our next guest covers a team for a very long time that things are going all right for them. That's for sure, right?
Got that right. A little bit better than all right. I think maybe the best team in the Big Ten, certainly playing that way, and Michigan had another massive win last night. But, Penn State compared to Northwestern for Illinois, I guess it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Want to welcome in Lauren Tate, and he has covered the Fighting Illini for the Champaign News-Gazette since 1966, now sports editor and columnist emeritus, and also a fixture on WDWS radio Saturday mornings. Am I going to be talking to you tomorrow morning, Lauren?
I hope so.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'll save a little bit of gas for that.
We go back and forth. But, this Illinois team is really playing well right now. I don't know. We're kind of catching Michigan State at a kind of a crucial time because the last three games haven't been really that impressive.
No.
If you count the Rutgers game, looked like Rutgers had that one in regulation and got away from it. But the Minnesota game really surprised me.
Yeah, and Minnesota had been so close and lost games at the end, and it was just like the game against Michigan last year in Williams Arena when they won by 3 points. On a last-second shot. This one didn't require a last-second shot. Minnesota was in command most of the way and let a big lead get away. Michigan State actually got it down to 2 and wound up losing by 3. But when you look at this Illinois team, it's more than Keaton Wagler. It is more than just a bunch of bigs who can really shoot the ball. What's the secret sauce?
If the secret is that how well they're shooting, I mean, when you go out and make nearly over 40% of your 3-point shots in these crucial games, this is the third straight weekend that Illinois has been on the road against a really good team and beat Nebraska, and that was a good win, and then won last week again, and
beat Purdue, right?
Oh my goodness, what a game over Purdue! Well, what a game that was! I mean, it was just stunning. Wagner made himself millions of dollars in that game because really, he hadn't really hit the national market quite like he did that day, and yet he doesn't have to. He is the one guy on the team who, without Boswell now who is injured, he's the one guy who can penetrate and kick and start the offense.
Yeah.
We've got some guys that can't dribble. I mean, Hummerhouse can't dribble. Yeah. Davis can't dribble. The big centers can't dribble.
Yeah.
But when I say they can't penetrate with the dribble, and we just have to have Wagner in there. He's crucial.
Wagner shoots it a lot better than Boswell did, right?
Well, he's just an extraordinary. He's moved up to like number 6 in the draft.
Yeah.
Mock drafts, and he doesn't have to score, and he doesn't force it. He's not as good as a assist guy as Spears, and I see where Spears and Braden Smith of Purdue are tied for first in the nation in assists at 8.9.
Yeah.
He's not quite like that, but he gets a lot of things started. He has those hockey assists where he gets it going, and then the extra pass that finds somebody open. And I don't think you'll find many teams. Now, look, they may not shoot that well Saturday night. Who knows?
Right.
But I don't think you'll find many teams in the country that have a shooter at every single position. including center. I'm talking about three-point shooters.
Yeah.
Got 2 3-point shooters at center. Both the Ava sisters are three-point shooters, and that makes a big difference when it doesn't matter who's open. That guy's the one that shoots it.
Yeah, that's one thing Michigan doesn't have. Adaimara doesn't even shoot 50% at the foul line. Now, he's tremendous down in the block, blocking shots, and very accurate when he gets the ball 3 feet from the hoop. But he's not going to be a stretch 5. And, you had Morez Johnson in Champaign, so you know what his potential was. He has really blossomed as part of the Wolverines program now. And he can make a 3, but I don't think that people game plan to stop him.
Oh, no, he's not going to shoot more than 1 a game, really. I mean, and that's when he's just left wide open. He can shoot he didn't shoot it last year. It sounded like when he left, he was upset because he didn't get a shoot. His dad thought he should, his dad didn't think he was being developed as a pro because he wasn't allowed to shoot, but he's not really shooting this year at Michigan. He got fewer than 10 for the whole season.
Yeah.
Attempts.
Yeah.
But he's a wonderful a guy around the basket. He's so strong and he's so aggressive. And Illinois would love to have him, but, kind of replaced him with Merkovich. And Merkovich is still a good, solid 8 rebounds a game, and he's a really good 3-point shooter.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know what the problem was? You mentioned the way he was used and how he saw himself fitting into the offense. But from a business perspective, we know that some schools are more aggressive than others in the portal. And we know that some schools will go anywhere to get players, including rivals in conference. There was a lot made, the coaches' meetings, I believe, about Michigan getting Morez Johnson from Illinois and trying to get John Blackwell from Wisconsin and trying to get Braden Smith from Purdue.
Really?
Yeah. Do you know how much more Michigan is paying Morez than he would have made in Champaign?
No, I can't tell you. I don't have any idea. I was just talking to Underwood today about the money part, and he said, we got to make decisions on freshmen, we got to make decisions on transfers, and it was just right before the last game, right before the Northwestern game, we had a press conference with Bielema in football, and he said he's not into game planning anymore. He's more about allocating funds to his players.
Yeah,
I mean that's what somebody has to do that. Somebody has to decide who gets $500,000, who gets $300,000, who gets $1 million. I mean, all that stuff has to be decided and negotiated, and that's what coaches are doing now. It's crazy.
Yeah, and every player has an agent, and some of them have parents who are super agents. And I know that Izzo and other coaches are dealing with this constantly. I'm sure Brad is too, and it certainly changed the landscape. You think, well, okay, he's getting this. But now you have a player who has 3 good games in a row, and they want a raise.
Absolutely. You can't blame them. We can get it, you just got to take advantage of it. The only time, this might be the only time you get to do this when you're in college, because when you get out, it's a lot tougher to make a team.
Lauren, Greg Campy at Oakland University, and I think Illinois has played Oakland a time or two, but he was talking about several of his players have been approached in the greeting line after the game. I mean, I don't know if coaches go through and hand out their business cards, but it's to the point now where if your guy has a good game, you want to send him straight to the shower because he's got to go by the other coaches, and then on his way to the locker room, if it's on the road, you may have someone over the tunnel handing him something.
Do you know who one of the lowest paid players on the Illinois team was starting this season? Wagler,
yeah.
You know who's the number one guy in that market now, in the NIL market in the country? Wagler.
So
he went from
whatever he had agreed to. You see sometimes in pro ball, someone will get a bump in season. or you see incentive-based deals. Do you think we're going to get to this where, if you get this many rebounds a game, then we're going to give you more or this, and it's going to be based on that?
Well, Wagner's situation is all NIL. I mean, they can't do anything from the university anymore, but they can his agent can work out a lot of NIL deals, and that's what's going on.
Yeah.
And really, we're still talking about the NCAA, which they just have no enforcement ability whatsoever.
Right. Well, and if the schools have their $20.5 million and they can spread it out among sports, Lauren, you're going to find some sports, some teams that they say, okay, well, we're going to put all our money into hockey, or we're going to put all of our money into basketball. We're not going to put it into, Penn State basketball. Good luck getting money for that. And then I'm seeing reports that Rutgers, how many millions of dollars in the red they are for each year. Florida State, Lauren, last year lost $74.5 million.
Yeah, did you see what Penn State lost?
No.
It's related to the stadium, a lot of it.
Yeah.
But it's an enormous amount of money, nearly $500,000, around $500,000.
Yeah, $500 million.
$500,000 that they've gone into debt now.
Right.
They've got a plan to pay it off, but I'm just telling you that they've got a huge debt.
Yeah, well, if you have a $500 million debt, it's going to take. You're not going to get that by raising ticket prices $3.
If you get $400 million, it wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, right. And there are some schools that have this, and there are some schools, you can talk about a Larry Ellison, and, he can write a check like that and not even know. It's like, okay, yeah, I guess, Jolene did that, that kind of thing.
Well, as a matter of fact, she did. Ellison attended the University of Illinois, but we haven't been able to tap him at all. But his wife gave all that money to Underwood at Michigan.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
When you think about
where do we go from here?
Yeah. When you think about where Illinois is now, Lord, in comparison to past teams, and Illinois has had a lot of very good teams, and they've had a few that made it to the Final Fours. Certainly, we remember '89. Team that should have won it. And then 2005, a team that got to the championship game. Could this team be that good?
Yes. I'm yes, except that they when you're shooting threes, sometimes it's off and you just can't explain it. I mean, but when if you're going to shoot 30 or 30, they've got 38 threes against Purdue and hit 18 of them. Well, that adds up pretty good.
Right. That's right.
This team is really good. That doesn't mean they're going to win every game the rest of the season, but they're going to be one of the. I don't think they'll be the top team, but I think they'll be one of the top 5 or 6 teams going into the tournament. I really do.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that because of the depth of the team and with Henrik House coming off the bench and his ability to shoot, and he's 6'8" and 6'9", and he's playing better. They're all playing better defense right now. They are going to get Boswell back at some point in February, late February, and this is a really good team. Now I'm slow. I'm always slow coming around to this, but they're convincing me. I always thought last year I thought we shot too many threes, and I go into this season thinking the same thing because we go out against UConn and miss 13 in a row. And I'm all upset, thinking, "Oh, I wish we would." Now the thing that makes the 3-point shooting so effective is they get so many of the offensive rebounds.
There you go. Yeah, those aren't empty possessions if you miss. And I always say now one of the keys to winning a championship, at least a conference championship, for those of us who still care about that.
We care when it's going on.
Yeah, but it doesn't last long. There are a lot of people. It's now a tournament sport. They say, wake me up in mid-March. But in terms of the schedule being so big, you only have 3 double plays. And, for Illinois, I guess Northwestern is 1, right? Nebraska was 1. I don't know who the third one is. But Illinois right now has already played Purdue, won on the road, has played Nebraska twice and split. And after tomorrow night at Michigan State, the only game it's going to have left against the so-called contenders is a game at home against Michigan. Meanwhile, Michigan's got to go to Illinois, got to go to Purdue, got to play Michigan State again, and other teams have more matchups. So if Illinois can win tomorrow night, and I'm a little surprised they're not favored to do that, but if the Illini can win tomorrow night, they really have one game left on their schedule that appears daunting.
Yeah, I think we beat Michigan like 9 in a row.
Yeah,
Can
right.
you believe that? But you made one big mistake that we've made every year for 25 years. You know what you did? You just overlooked Wisconsin.
Yeah, that's right. Wisconsin will beat Michigan. That's right.
10.
That's right.
And every year we say we just forget that. Look at Wisconsin. Look at their record.
Yeah. And they'll be there. They'll find a way. It's funny. We talk about Wisconsin, and for about 20 years, Lauren, I wrote the Big Ten preview for Street and Smith's college basketball. And it got to the point that the editors of Street and Smith's would call me and they'd say, "Where do you have the Badgers?" And I said, "Well, I have them 8th. I have them 6th. And they said, "Okay, because we have the Ebling rule. Wherever you put them, we're moving them up 2 spots."
Right. Absolutely.
Right? So that's kind of where we are. Yeah,
I know. We never appreciate what they're doing, and here they are. What are they, 8 or 9 and 3 right now?
Yeah. Hey, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it. I'll talk to you in the morning.
All right, good. Thanks, Jack.
Lauren Tate. Rob, if he sounds like a 94-year-old guy, a 95, I hope I sound half that good in 20 years. All right. We will be right back, and we're going to talk with a guy who doesn't look anything like his age. He is the snappiest dresser in town, and he is at Super Bowl 60 because he has been to 60 Super Bowls. There are only 4 of them left, and Gregory Eaton is one of them. We'll be right back with Greg from Northern California, coming up next on The Drive with Jack.
Jack Ebling here with my good friend Matt Sloan at Graph of Okemos. Some great product here in early 2026.
You got it, Jack. Here at Chevy, we have, backed by popular demand, the all-new Bolt. Redesigned and back in full force for us. People are really excited about that vehicle. It did great for us in the past.
Great.
And then next door, the Nissan Sentra, completely redesigned for that model. Great fuel economy. It's going to be a hot seller for us.
Stop and see Matt and the gang at Graph of Okemos. They're making friends.
Dean Transportation is looking for compassionate people to join our team of school bus drivers and attendants. Visit deanjobs.com to see all openings. Dean Transportation provides paid training to obtain a commercial driver's license, increased starting pay, comprehensive benefits, and flexible schedules with no weekend shifts. No experience needed. Apply today at deanjobs.com and train for back to school season. That's DEAN jobs.com.
Hey, Jack, you love a good gift card.
Yes, Jeremy, I do.
One North makes it even better. Reload your One North gift card now through January for 15% off and keep those good meals coming. Lunch, dinner, happy hour, covered. Reload it, use it, repeat. One North Kitchen and Bar.
Where gift cards keep giving.
So, it's been a while since you've had your jewelry cleaned and inspected, right? Where will you go and who will you trust with your most valuable and treasured heirlooms? At Meadowar Jewelers' 4 locations in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage, jewelry isn't just our job, it's our passion. Each and every piece entrusted in our care is thoroughly inspected by our trained staff against damage or normal wear. And we offer you, our customer, the highest level of quality on repairs and custom designs. Whether it's worn out prongs, channels, or shanks, it's all handled with incredible care. Meadowar Jewelers in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage want to help you preserve your memories and offer you options on creating new ones. Come in today for the cleaning and inspection of your jewelry. We continue to work hard every day to earn your confidence and trust.
Jack Ebling here with my good friend Matt Sloan at Graf of Okemos. Great time to get a great vehicle.
Fantastic time, Jack. 0% financing is back. Hard to believe this time right now we can get a vehicle with zero interest.
Wow.
And if you're looking to pay cash, how about rebates up to $10,000? That's unheard of lately, right? $10,000 off on a vehicle. How about leasing? You want to lease? You can lease a vehicle right now in the low threes. Come on out and take a look.
You're talking everyone's language. Stop and see Matt and the gang. They're making friends.
Welcome back. It is The Drive with Jack, Spotlight Radio Network. Jack Ebling here with my producer, Boston Rob. Trying to get Gregory Eaton, who wasn't picking up, right? I just called him during the break, and he said, call now. So we're trying to catch up with him. And we'll talk with him about the Super Bowls. He's a longtime friend, going back to his Michigan State days, with Herb Adderley. Great cornerback, Hall of Fame cornerback for the Green Bay Packers. And Herb Adderley is one of just 3 Spartans to have won 3 Super Bowls. Herb Adderley did it in Super Bowls 1, 2, and 6. Earl Morrall did it in Super Bowl 5 with Baltimore, and then as a backup to Bob Greasy in Super Bowls 7 and 8. And then you get into the modern era. And been a long time. You have to go all the way to Dixon Edwards, who won 3 and won 3. He's the only one who did it with the same team. Herb won 2 with Green Bay and 1 with Dallas. And we talked about Earl doing it with Baltimore and Miami, but Dixon Edwards did it all with the Dallas Cowboys. We had Dixon on the show earlier this week. And he was talking about not really knowing anything about pro football. He had no idea. He was at a pro day thing, and they said, hey, Jimmy Johnson is waiting to talk to you. And Dixon says, who's Jimmy Johnson? So he went in and talked with him, and then talked with the defensive coordinator, a guy named Dave Wanstedt, and later became a very, very successful coach, prominent coach, and now an analyst. And, he winds up with the Cowboys on some great, great teams with Michael Irvin and Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith and, tremendous defensive players, Charles Haley. They've got, I think, 5 Hall of Famers already of that group, and they're going to have more. So that was interesting. Saw something fascinating today, and it had all of the Pro Football Hall of Fame inductees based by their pro team. And number 1, with the most members of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, the Chicago Bears. Number 2 is the Green Bay Packers. So in the same division, the NFC North, are the 2 teams that have the most Hall of Famers. Detroit Lions are right in the middle. They're tied for 16th in the National Football League, but they are last in their division in terms of Hall of Famers, and they have twice as many as the New England Patriots. Go figure. Lions haven't been to a Super Bowl, but they have 22 Hall of Famers. Bears have 39. Patriots only 11. So, sometimes it's hard to figure. No idea why, but that's the way it is. We have college hockey coming up, as I mentioned, tonight. A lot of people will be watching FS1 for Michigan State at Michigan at Yost. And then tomorrow night at LCA, you'll have the duel in the D. Chance for Michigan State has given up its home game. Each year, Michigan or Michigan State has to give up a home game. This was the year that it was the Michigan State home game, which turned into the duel in the D down at Little Caesars. So, and the only game that Michigan played in East Lansing this year, the Wolverines won. The game in Ann Arbor, Michigan State won. And Michigan State is funny because they played so much better this year on the road than they have at home. It's like there's a home ice disadvantage. Never thought we would see that, but that's where we are. Okay. Rob, I think if we can get Jay Green on here, he is now in studio, and we're going to bring him in. Jay, you can put those headsets on. And want to talk to you about a lot of things here. First of all, we don't have Gregory Eaton with us, but can you imagine being one of the last 4 people on Earth to have seen every Super Bowl?
No, I can't. And every time I see him and someone's around that doesn't know that, I'll make sure that they understand that he is one of those people.
Yeah. They had a group, and they were actually honored by the National Football League. The NFL took good care of these people. One of them died last year, so the number went from 5 to 4. It's kind of one of those things where you kind of take a glance at the obits every so often, see if your name's in it.
Yeah.
And Greg looks fantastic.
No.
I mean, he looks like he's 50.
No, I agree. And I think he's in his 80s, I want to say.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
He definitely doesn't look like it.
No.
And for him, again, to be able to do that for every Super Bowl, I think this is what, the 60th?
60, yep.
So that's most of his life. Like, he can almost draw Social Security off of Super Bowl trips.
The first one was also in California. It was at the Coliseum, where I was this year to watch Michigan State play USC. And that Super Bowl, it was so weird because it was the NFL versus the AFL. It wasn't the NFC and AFC. And they were separate leagues playing before the merger. And Green Bay beat Kansas City, but 2 different networks broadcast. So the AFL games were all on NBC, and the NFL games were all on CBS. That was 2 networks. So I said, well, who's going to carry the game? Well, both carry it. So they both had their own broadcasts, their own announcers, and you could flip back and forth. If you were an AFL fan, you could watch it on NBC with Kurt Gowdy. If you were an NFL fan, as most people were, you could watch it with Ray Scott, and Pat Summerall was down on the sideline. And, it was totally different in those days. And it really wasn't until after Super Bowl III when Joe Namath made the guarantee that they were going to beat Baltimore and then delivered on it, the people took the AFL seriously. And then the AFL came back the next year and won again. Kansas City beat the Vikings. And then after that, they merged, and then they were just going for the one championship. But it was a very different universe when Greg Eaton started going to these games. And the first game, Jay, you know what tickets are like now for the Super Bowl. I mean, you're talking about thousands of dollars, right? You could walk them. You get a ticket for $15, and it wasn't sold out. Game was not sold out.
I'm sure, and they probably didn't have suites or any of that kind.
And it wasn't called the Super Bowl.
What was it called? It
was called the AFL NFL World Championship. It wasn't until after, it was Super Bowl III, that they started using the term Super Bowl. And Lamar Hunt, the owner of the Chiefs, kid had what was called a Super Ball. I don't know if you remember those things, the rubber that would bounce to the moon, right? And it was a playoff of that, and they said, okay, well, we're going to call it that. And that's how it got its name.
I wonder who trademarked that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And now you can't even say Super Bowl unless you're in a news setting. You have anything that is commercially driven, can't say it. You got to say the big game.
I'm sure.
Yeah. So, crazy stuff. Hey, let me ask you first how you see that game coming out and how much you're going to be rooting for Kenneth Walker III.
I'm totally rooting for Kenneth Walker III. If I take my green glasses off just for a slight second, I think it's going to be a great game. I think that I see a lot of people favoring Seattle, but I don't think you can discount what New England has done. So, but I think that Seattle is going to win, and I'm really rooting for K9 to get a ring.
Wouldn't it be funny if he was the MVP and he got to go to Disney World?
That would be hilarious.
He couldn't go to the Heisman Trophy ceremony. He got snubbed, but he might show up at Disney World as the MVP of the Super Bowl.
That would be That would be a full circle moment. Now, and I don't want to discount the other Spartan on the other side.
That's right, Bryce Behringer.
Yes, I definitely don't want to discount him because we are definitely all family. But if I had to choose between the two, I got to go with K9.
Yeah. Are you surprised the way he has responded now? His backcourt mate, Zach Charbonnet, down. He's out. So K9's had to handle the whole load, but we watched him do that here at Michigan State.
No, I wasn't surprised. I think that a lot of times, especially in the NFL, you see teams going to two back because, putting that wear and tear on one person is a lot during which is now a 17-game season. So I think that it's normal for two guys to kind of carry the load. We got two guys here in Gibbs and Montgomery who do it. You got those two, and every team in the league, I feel like, has two guys that they got a main guy and maybe another guy, but then some teams have guys that are on the same level. And I think that's kind of what, because K9 is more of the speed guy and Charbonnet was more of the power guy, but now K9 has to do it all, and he's been able to carry the load. And I think the good thing is that he hasn't had to do it over a long period of time, which won't wear on him.
So I know you want Seattle to win. Mm-hmm. Do you think the Seahawks will win? Or do you think New England will find a way? They know how to win Super Bowls.
Yeah, but that was a whole different regime and a whole different quarterback, a whole different. I think Seattle will win. I think it'll be a very close game, but I think Seattle will win. I trust Sam Darnold a little bit more than I do Drake May. And that's not to take anything away from Drake May. I think he was second in the MVP voting, which is huge. But I think we saw Dan Marino. He went to the Super Bowl, in his second year?
Yes.
And then never
got
again.
back. That's right.
So, I'm interested to see for Drake May how this turns out because, we've seen what that looked like before, and Dan Marino is one of the best ever.
There's a great sports writer, a good friend of mine from Indiana named Michael Opresti, and battling cancer right now. But he sent some stuff up, and this is so Mike, the research he did on this. They played this game 59 times. This is Super Bowl 60 coming up. And the NFC is 130, the AFC is 129. So you can't be any more even than that. If the AFC wins, it'll be 30-30. The Vikings went to 4 of the first 11 Super Bowls, and they haven't been back. So 49 years they've gone without it. It's not just the Lions. The Miami Dolphins were in 5 of the first 19 games, and they haven't been back in the last 41 years. Dallas Cowboys were in 8 of the first 30. They won 5 times. They haven't been back in the last 30 years. So just because you've been good doesn't mean that you have a divine right. So, that's kind of the way it is.
No, a lot of stuff has to go right for this to happen. And I think for these two teams, because you can look at the AFC Championship game and say what may have happened had Bo Nix been the quarterback instead of a backup. So a lot of things have to go right for you to get to this point. And I think that both teams are definitely deserving, and I think we'll be in for a treat.
Yeah. I just got a message on my phone, go figure, Rob, from Greg Eaton. He's being dragged in a lot of different directions. He says he is on the water right now, but just left me a voicemail. And, this is live radio. That's the beauty of having Jay Green in studio. It's amazing. You can bring him in every Friday and wrap up the week.
I don't know if I can fill those shoes, but I'm here.
Well, let's talk a little bit about Michigan State basketball.
Okay.
And Illinois coming in. The biggest team Michigan State will face bigger than Michigan, which was gigantic, and a team that's been shooting better than 40% from deep, and a team that has a top 6 pick in the NBA draft projected in freshman Keaton Wagler. What do you expect from the Spartans after 3 straight rough outings?
I expect us to come to play. That's for sure. Now, what the outcome may be, that's to be determined. Even, with the green glasses, it's kind of hard to, not see what has been going on as far as how we've been playing. So I think the good thing is that you figure there's no way to go up but up from here. Yeah. And we haven't been playing that terrible. We just haven't been, making shots and putting things together like we usually do. So I think that if we can get some shots to fall, I think that will go in our favor, and I think it'll go a long way.
Are you surprised Michigan State is favored in this game?
Very surprised.
Yeah, I am too.
Very surprised. Yeah, I didn't know that until you told me. But
yeah,
I'm very surprised that we're favored. But I think a lot of it has to do with, our home court, and people know how tough it is to play at Breslin. So I'm sure that played a part into it.
Tom Izzo teams, when they have a sense of desperation, once they get past the first week in February, and we're not quite past the first week in February yet, tend to play pretty well. First of all, I don't understand this first week of February thing, because Michigan State is nearly perfect at home in November. We know how good they are in March, and we know how strong they've been the rest of the season, winning 75% of their games over the past 30 years. But the first week in February, and it doesn't matter who they play, they can play teams at the top, they can play teams at the bottom. Last year we were out in Southern California. We lost them. We saw them lose to a pretty poor USC team, and then a decent, not great, UCLA team out there. And then they came home, and boom, they're off and running again. So I don't know exactly what that is. At some point in the schedule, they hit that wall, and then they climb over it. But for Michigan State right now, if they have any hope of getting a share of the Big Ten title, they have no more margin for error.
No, I agree, and I think that this will be a huge game and can be a springboard, I think, for the rest of the season if we can pull out a win.
Yeah.
But again, we're gonna have to hit shots. We're gonna definitely have to stay out of foul trouble as far as our bigs go. Because like you said, they have a big lineup and they have more bigs, I feel like, than we do. They are deeper across the front line than we are. So we got our work cut out for us, but it's definitely possible.
So watching the Minnesota game, Cohen Carr in the first half had 0 points and 0 rebounds. 0 and 0. The last 4 minutes of the game, it looked like Michael Jordan. He winds up with 16 points to lead the team. What do they have to do to get him from the showing he had in the last 4 minutes to play that way through the entire game?
I think one of the biggest things is getting stops and getting out and running, because that's what his strength is transition. So I think if we can get some stops and get out and get him some easy baskets and get him going that way, you know, like I know how electric it is when he, when people are anticipating a dunk from him inside the Breslin. So I think if he can get one of those in place for him, because I don't know exactly how that goes as far as the structure, but I think if we run some plays for him, depending on, and the other thing is who's guarding him, because he's a frontline player. So we might have somebody who's bigger than him guarding him, who he may be able to take advantage of as far as his quickness. So I think there's a lot of factors in play as far as getting him going. But I'm sure and I'm very confident that coach is going to figure that out.
So what about the point guard situation now without Divine Ugochukwu, who is done for the year with the broken foot, the 5th metatarsal?
Mm-hmm.
And we don't know for sure about Jeremy Fears Jr. I think we have a decent idea what it's going to be. But this is Tom Izzo's decision, and he insisted today that he hasn't made a final decision yet. Mm-hmm. What do you think that decision will be, Jay?
I don't know, because I think that's a tough decision. I think that most people who saw the video and the footage feel like him being suspended for this game would be justified. And I think that in my mind, I feel like that message would go a whole lot further than him winning another championship, because it sends a message that, you know, that's not something that you teach and not something that you stand for.
Right.
And it's a hard lesson to learn, but, you know, we've all been, you know, in college as 18 to 22-year-old kids, and we made mistakes that we had to be reprimanded for. So I don't think that it's a knock against the kid. I just think that it may be something that may be necessary to kind of control what's going on now, and to show that, you know, that you are aware of it and it's something that you don't stand for. So
yeah. Well, in terms of the decision, there's no right decision. Tom Izzo is not doing what's best for Tom Izzo. He's doing what he thinks is best for the basketball program, and he says especially for Jeremy Fears down the road. He's not about winning a game. He's about helping someone with a very important part of his life. But you remember what it was like for Scott Skiles when he was here and the abuse he took everywhere he went, but he was a senior. For Teddy Dupay, who had the trip on Mateen Cleaves and had a great career at Florida, now he is seen as criminal. Didn't matter how many points he scored for Florida now. He's always going to be remembered for that play, right? They call him Dirty Play Dupay. And Jeremy's going to have this wherever he goes. I mean, the people in Michigan are already planning what they're going to do. I mean, you think it was bad for Michigan here. It's going to be hell to pay for Jeremy Fears in Ann Arbor.
No, I agree, but you know, I'm a person of perspective, and the way that I see it, you talking about a kid that has come back from being shot.
Yeah.
And I don't think that anything a fan can say or anything that anybody can write or any video that they can make that can attest or that can be similar to him going through that.
Yeah.
So I'm confident that he'll go through it, and he'll be fine. I think that we kind of agree on what we think will happen, and it's not a knock against the kid. We all make mistakes, and he's a young kid who has made mistakes. And then you have to, again, I'm a person of perspective, and we have to always think about how basketball was played when I grew up, and the fact that we had a home team that won a championship on so-called playing dirty. So it's always been players that played on the edge.
Right.
Think about how all the NBA teams had an enforcer to so-called do the dirty work.
How about Detroit Pistons, right?
Exactly. They won two championships as the bad boys.
And going around the country, I still have people talk about, man, they were the dirtiest team ever.
Yeah.
You know, it didn't stop the people around here from celebrating the championship.
Not at all. And so I don't feel like he's a dirty player.
How about the Oakland Raiders? Remember how?
Oh, Jack Tatum and that whole bunch was, yeah. I mean, when you think about it, the NFL period and just how football used to be played compared to how it's played now, like I feel like as receivers, there's no fear of going across the middle like it used to be when you had guys like Ronnie Lott or Atwater there, you know, kind of waiting to take your head off, and it was legal for them to do that.
Yeah.
So I think that we're just in a different time. I don't think that the kid is a dirty player.
Yeah.
I think that he may, you know, kind of feel a need to sometimes go the extra mile to get the job done because he wants to win so bad, which I totally understand, and I think that this is something that he'll learn from.
How do you explain the kick backward to the groin?
So I think I feel like that's one of the things that's questionable, and you can make an argument either way, because anybody who has been pushed and trying to gain their balance have done the same thing, I feel like. Now, if he don't have that reputation, do people still feel the same way? If Dusty May has not pointed out what he has done, do people still feel the same way about it? Now, you have that to go along with some other things that people put in a video clip that makes that look worse. But in my mind, that's the one that's kind of debatable whether he really tried to do that or not. The rest of it is just really no debating. But that one right there is kind of debatable because you can see that he's trying to catch his balance, which I said many of us have done. And I don't think that he tried to do it, but it's just perception and the fact that people are zeroing in on it, and it just looks bad. So I don't think that he tried to do it, but it's debatable for sure.
What are the range of options for Tom Izzo?
As far as dealing with him? I think that him missing a top 5 matchup on a Saturday night in prime time would be adequate for what's going on. I think that would get the kids' attention. And again, you're not trying to crucify him.
Sure.
You know, he made a mistake.
What about people who say, as you suggested, that maybe he was trying to catch his balance, maybe cutting him some slack, maybe he was over the edge a little bit, but probably doesn't deserve a 1-game suspension for a flagrant 1 foul?
Well, again, that's something that's depends on who you talk to. I think you have Spartan fans who may feel like it may not be that serious, but you also have to think about people who are not Spartan fans and how they may look at it. So I think that to be fair to everyone, I think a 1-game suspension would definitely be fair. That's not what I'm pushing for, but I definitely feel like that'd be fair. You're talking to a guy whose mom, ruled him ineligible. So I know what that's like to miss big games and for people to care more about you than the sport. And I feel like that's what Coach Izzo is, and I feel like that's what we need. He's one of the very few people left that are doing it for the right reason, and that's for the kids.
So when fans, and certainly fans of other teams in the state and other teams in the conference, say, oh, Michigan State's always been a dirty program. You can go back and, they'll tie it to anything. They'll tie it to football back in the 70s. They'll tie it to suspension for Will Golston. They'll tie it to anything they can. And in Michigan State's case, there's some things there that they can tie it to. So is that relevant at all, or just ignore that stuff?
I don't think it's relevant because it's not something that's taught. And now that's one thing that I can definitely say that I know that Coach Izzo is not teaching that. He's teaching toughness and playing hard, but he's definitely not teaching, things like that. So I think that that's just kind of like a thing in the wind, because you can go through 30 years, you talking about, maybe a couple of incidents that happened. So I don't think that you can put that on him. And again, anybody who knows him knows that that's not what he's teaching.
Were you ever the victim of a dirty play, of a late hit, a cheap shot, something completely out of bounds where someone was trying to hurt you or could have hurt you?
I can't say it really out of bounds, but again, at the time that I grew up, that was kind of a normal thing where guys just kind of, went over the edge or when it's like, I remember coaches would have guys that, they made sure that they used all their fouls.
Yeah.
And they would
enforcers.
Exactly. They would make sure that they used those fouls, and a lot of people would look at it and think that it's dirty, but that was just how the game was played.
Someone even suggested that Jeremy Fear's life would be so tough here right now that he will never be the same player because of this. I think people who know Jeremy know he's already been through survivor, right? I mean, he's been through a lot. So I think that a little booing, some taunting, that kind of stuff. But I do think that officials now are going to look at him differently.
No, and I think that that's the bad part is once you get that stigma on you, that the microscope is on you. And I feel like you said, I don't think that the booing is going to bother him. I think that it's actually going to put a battery in him to make him want to do more and want to do better. And I think that's just the kind of kid and the kind of player that he is, and you can tell by the way he plays and the way that he leads.
Scott Skiles was very much like that, Jay, and every time there was a storm, you knew he would produce. And he would go on the road, and he would take so much abuse. Oh, it was just horrific. And the names they would call him, the abuse that his parents would take on the road, and Scott just played better and better and better.
No, and
National Player of the Year after all that.
And think that this kid, compared to that, he has social media and other platforms where everybody is just talking about it. His name can be trending, so he has to deal with all of that. But again, I think that he'll handle it in stride, and I think he'll be better coming off on the other side of it, no matter what comes from tomorrow night, whether he plays or not.
So if he does not play, or let's say he plays and the officials are on the lookout, focused on him, and he gets in foul trouble early, how does Michigan State beat Illinois?
Defense. I think if you can keep them from scoring and again get some easy baskets, I think that will help because usually longer teams are better at playing half court defense. So I think if we can get them big guys running up and down the court, maybe tire them out a little bit, I think that will be to our advantage, and that's kind of right up our alley.
I said I thought that Carson Cooper, who has been slumping, Jackson Kohler, who's been slumping offensively, especially with his shot, and Colin Carr, who's been inconsistent, going to have to play their best game, and they're going to have to get rebounds that they haven't gotten before because Illinois sends everybody the glass, and they are gigantic. 7'3", 7'1", 6'11", 6'9". Their guards are 6'7", 6'6". So when they do that, if Michigan State can get the ball, can run, and can get points in transition, but in terms of the half-court defense, if Illinois is hitting its shots and is shooting better than 40% from three and has Keaton Wagler, who would be a load for any defender in the country, and now, they've talked about Michigan State, Tom has all year, about not being able to get any defense from his two guards. Now, he doesn't have Devine. Trey Fort and Kurtang have not acquitted themselves well. So, you've got Jeremy Fears, if he's there, 6'1". You've got Denim Wojcik. You've got Nick Sanders. It's a daunting proposition to think that a guy who scored 46 points, the record in Mackey Arena, on 17 shots, is going to be stopped by Denim Wojcik and Nick Sanders.
No, I agree, and that's one of them things where you just hope for the best. We have seen great offensive players in our time, and a lot of times it's really nothing you can do to stop them. You can just play as hard as you can and make it as hard for them as you can. So I think that we may see some gimmick defenses like we've seen before. Like that could be an option. I think that everything is on the table as far as this point because, again, I think that this is a pivotal game in the season and can be a springboard. If I feel like if we can win this game, and, again, you talked about three guys who have been slumping. So, in my mind, up is the only way to go from there. So, this could be the perfect place for them to come back and think about, we talked about February again. So, if I remember correctly, this is the time last year where Jace Richardson kind of emerged and became the player that he is. So I can see something like that happening. Jordan Scott has been playing great in my mind, and I was very happy to see him in that starting lineup and to be able to get more minutes because I think he's very effective.
And he was ranked just about where Jace Richardson was a year ago coming in.
No.
Actually, he's much taller. He's 4 or 5 inches taller.
And you're talking about a kid who is like from a basketball family, so he knows how to play, and it shows in his performance. So I think that, again, this game can be huge. I think that it's doable, but it's going to take the best game of our life for this to happen, but it can happen.
You know who Michigan State plays after Illinois?
Wisconsin.
In Madison.
Yeah, it don't get any easier. It don't get any easier.
And then Michigan State also has trips to West Lafayette, where the Spartans haven't won since 2014. And then a return date with Michigan in Chrysler Center. The Wolverines probably playing for the Big Ten championship at that point. So
senior night, or transfer portal night. That's what
portal night.
It's portal night. That's what it should be now.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it'll be very interesting to see how this works, and you can't reach down into the minors and pull up a player. You can't go to your reserve list. You can't go to the G League and get a player you have stashed down there.
Mm-hmm.
You have what you have at this point, right?
Yeah.
So, you really, you're going to have to dig deep, and some other players are going to have to pitch in, people who maybe haven't done everything that's been expected. But, Jay, we have seen almost every Michigan State player have a night or two nights where they have looked like world beaters. You're just going to need 3 or 4 of them to do it.
Yeah, it's going to be a total team effort because this is a very talented team coming in, and we will be shorthanded. So we may be shorthanded. I don't know for sure.
We're already going to be shorthanded without Devine.
Yes.
You're losing your starting two guard.
Yes, because even if Fears does play, he's going to have to play a lot of minutes.
Right.
Which, against bigger guards may not be, they can wear him down.
That's right. That's the other thing. We saw that against Michigan when he played 36 minutes.
Yes.
He wasn't the same player at the end.
Yes.
So
and I think the interesting thing, again, we talk about players having their moment. Wojcik has had a moment.
Yeah.
A few moments this season. So that could also be a thing because you and I have seen where, guys are underestimated and people not focus on them, and then all of a sudden, they're the player of the game. So I wouldn't even throw that out the window. Last
thing for you, how important are the fans going to be, our listeners, people who are watching us now on YouTube? If this game weren't played in Breslin Center, I don't know what chance I would give Michigan State.
Yeah, I don't think we definitely wouldn't be favored. Again, like I said before, I feel like that's part of why we are favored because of our home field advantage and the atmosphere in the Breslin. So to answer your question, the fans are going to be huge. I think of course, you got the guys that's on the court, but we have seen how electric Breslin can be, and even with the comeback last week, how it was. So the fans will be very huge in this game.
Thanks for coming in. Always appreciate it. Always great to see you. And have a great weekend. We will see you tomorrow night.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
And enjoy the Super Bowl.
I will.
And, I'm sure that you and K9 will be having fun down at Disney World.
I don't know if he's going to invite me, but it'll be good to see him there.
Want to thank all of our guests, Rob, and really want to thank Haley Schoengart and Neil Kepke for coming in and being in studio. Always great to see them. Connor Eargood from the Detroit News. And this guy's all over the place. He's already in Ann Arbor for the hockey game tonight. He will be back at Breslin, not going to the Duel in the D. He will be here for the basketball game. Was also covering Pat Fitzgerald's press conference. So appreciate all that he does as well. And want to thank all of you for listening. Don't forget, Sunday night, after the Super Bowl, we're going to be taping early for our Press Pass show. Have a great weekend, everyone. Enjoy the games.